You're tuned in to Oilers Nation Every Day with Tyler Yaremchuk, live every weekday on the Nation Network YouTube.
The Oilers are the hottest team in the NHL. The LA Kings are frauds. Let's get into it with the lead. Wasting no time.
I like it. There's no time. There's so much to talk about, Tyler.
We have short for Giant Game Day because the Oilers are playing the Ducks.
Boom.
Betway 3 big things because the Oilers beat the LA Kings. Frank Seravalli stopping by because it's a Wednesday. Shout out to Wednesdays, Liam.
Wednesdays, am I right?
Is it cheesecake with the boys' night?
It is cheesecake night tonight, and it's also the day I would just make as an excuse for not doing my homework when we went to Nate together.
Yeah, we had one instructor at Nate who didn't like that Liam didn't hand in assignments very often. And Liam just eventually started going, it's Wednesdays. There's Wednesday. Come on.
What am I supposed to do? The week's barely
Man,
started. It's so close
near
to the weekend.
Like the private dining room area where they had like the pedway to the other building on like the north side of Nate. There used to be a golden tea machine. Like Golden Tea 99. And me and my buddy, for people of like OG Nation people remember at T-Fence, we would miss a lot of class. We would use every break and we would play Golden Tea for the princely sum of $2 a round.
Not bad. That's right where the radio building was.
Yeah, I was thinking.
There you go. All right, we are live on the Oilers Nation YouTube channel with Oilers Nation Every Day from the Sports Closet studio, sportscloset.ca. They have all that Oilers playoff gear ready to go. They got some Nation gear in stock at their 3 locations, St. Albert Mall, Sherwood Park Mall, and Kingsway Mall. You can also find them online, sportscloset.ca. QF, bro, our guy has the first comment of the day. The Century Nugent-Hopkins shirt. I think I want more. He's talking about that compared to maybe some of the playoff gear. We've been teasing. We haven't teased that. We've been saying the next Oilers milestone may have more gear at Nation Gear.
Oh, okay. That's exciting. Well, I'll stay tuned.
You should. Cody's in, says the boys look great right before the playoffs. And Rusty, the reckless optimist, tonight is going to be a milestone night. Nuge at 100, McDavid at 150. We're going to get a giant 7-2 W. We will talk about that in a bit, but first the focus is on the Oilers beating the LA Kings last night. I actually think this is a little off because the shots on goal are all flipped around in this one.
You would know that because you bet on the shots.
I would know that because I bet on the shots, correct. But I actually thought the Oilers played a pretty decent hockey game last night, and you know what else I kind of liked?
They're a little weird in the first, but after that, they just
But both sides were like feeling each other out in the first. And then things really got going. And if there is a playoff matchup between these two teams in round one, the fact that they played each other twice in the final couple weeks of the regular season, that is just fuel to the fire.
Yeah, the spice level is getting hotter by the game. But, for me, it's just reassuring because 10 days ago, we're like, oh, man, we don't have to play the Kings in the first round. Like, they're averaging so many goals against. But, like, it is so reassuring and positive to see that we can play that like low scoring defensive, like smothering each other, give no room, finish every check game and still have our skill persevere through that, and, in pot 3 and win a 3-1 game or a 2-0 game. Like I've seen what need to see to be really excited.
Okay, Liam, before I get your thoughts on that, Jay kind of took point 1 of 3 big things that I wanted to touch on. So let's get into that. Brought to you by our friends at Betway 19+.
There's a format to this
play
show?
responsibly.
We are really moving along.
Well, there's so much
to talk about. I thought I'd just skip right to the end. You want to know my bets? There's only one thing to bet on tonight, folks. And I'll tell you later.
Okay, so my number 1 big thing, you just totally threw me off there. I just lost my train of thought.
That is the whole reason why I'm here.
Number 1 on my 3 big things for our friends at Betway is that was a very tight checking hockey game. The Oilers have played the Kings twice here in the last week or so. The score has been 5-1. Low scoring, largely low event hockey. There are 2 ways you can kind of look at this. It's glass half full, glass half empty, Liam. It is the Oilers are learning how to play low event hockey and grind out games against the LA Kings. Or the other side of this
is scoring's dried up. Can't score anymore.
No, the other side of this is the Oilers are playing the LA Kings style of hockey, not their own brand of hockey. And that might be a little concerning. Like, why can't the Oilers get their offense to really break through against the Kings the way it does against other teams?
Because no other team defends like the Kings. The Kings just smother you. They have 2 Selke caliber centers.
Liam, your thoughts?
I actually brought this up on After Dark yesterday. It's quite interesting because when they play Vegas, for example, it's very run and gun, and there's just tons of goals almost every time they play. But yeah, when they play the Kings, it's low scoring hockey for the most part and very tight checking, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think it's like a bad thing for the Oilers that it's that way. I think the Oilers are just able to adapt to the scenarios that they're in. And you're not going to be able to take over 82 games. And if the Oilers are playing the LA Kings way right now, well, they're out dueling them. They've beat them back-to-back games of doing that. So I actually think it's a positive thing being like, yeah, try and beat us however you want. You won't.
We're playing our version of the Kings. Like, they don't have our offensive skill. Like, we're able to go out and still create, even though they're trying to slow us down. But they do slow us down. They suppress what we do, but we can also do the same thing in kind, which is important. When you get into that run and gun game, which we can play very well, and you open up the ice, then you can cheat. And, you know, when you play against the Kings, you cannot, because they'll capitalize on mistakes, and we have to make sure that if they cheat, we capitalize on those mistakes. But when you get into those track meets, yeah, sure, like, the skill will just take our skill. Well, you can't outskill us. And if we cheat and chase those plays and go against poor goaltending, like, we will expose that. But to me, it's just reassuring that we can play that level of defensive game and still, like, we still skilled it up. We still created a lot. Connor was buzzing last night.
He was.
It just, you know, that easily could have been 5-1 that game, given even how LA played.
It did feel like when LA scored their first goal, it felt like it was going to take some like magic from McDavid to kind of get it over the line, and Draisaitl was the one who just did it on the power play.
And for what it's worth, I agree with you guys on this. I think it is really encouraging that it's like, hey, tight checking, low scoring, the Oilers can play well. And I actually thought they were the better team for the bulk of that hockey game. Even in the first period when the Oilers weren't their best, they didn't give the Kings a ton there. There was a couple times where Kempe broke loose, and it was like, okay.
Got to save.
Yeah, but you got to save, and that's 100% it. And the chat is kind of agreeing with us as well. Twisted89, who cares what brand we play if we win, right? I think that's bang on.
W's, baby.
Mark M, no other team interferes as much as the Kings do. We'll talk about that in a second. Facts. Rusty says, why is it concerning? A W is a W. For me, it's more encouraging. We can win these ones. Steve says, the Oilers are adaptable. I love it. And Christopher says, the Oilers can play any style that is good. And I agree, 100% it is. I think in a best of 7, there will be games when the Oilers can dictate the pace a little bit, and it does get a little bit more run and gunny, and that will serve them well. But in a best of 7, the fact that it's like, hey, LA, we'll play your style, we'll beat you at your style, and then there'll be games where we play our style and we completely roll over you. And actually, when you look back at that series last year, that's almost the way it went, right? The Oilers had a couple of tight checking, low scoring wins, and a couple of ones, like the time we were in LA, where they just beat the wheels off them, and their offense was way too much.
If you're sleepy, you're in trouble.
Yeah. My number 2 on the list of big things, Stuart Skinner is Mr. Consistent. He was solid again, a .952 last night against the LA Kings. That glove save he made in the second period was unbelievable. He made highlight reel stops. He made the saves he was supposed to. Nothing even like, there was one play where they shot and it kind of dribbled past him, but went wide of the net.
Yeah. But he was there, like, if it was got out of hand and became a scoring chance, he was there to bail himself out. Yeah,
there was really just no doubt in Stuart Skinner last night, and the Oilers shutout streak hit over 8 periods in that hockey game, which is pretty remarkable.
I think it's fair to say, and I know, the stats world will never allow it, but like, it's safe to say that that Skinner essentially had a shutout last night. Like, that goal was so like, did you see like how like there was traffic and then all of a sudden a puck appeared and like went right through perfectly? Like, no, like, that is just like pure luck, perfect storm type stuff. You like, Skinner just has to like happen chance be in the way to stop that one, because there was no way he could react in time. So like, I'd still give him like an asterisk shutout, like a positive vibe shutout.
We talk about moral victories. That was a moral shutout.
That was a moral shutout, yes.
There you go. And there's a look at the goal. You're right. And I think it kind of rattled Skinner a little bit, because when one goes in from the blue line on any goalie, I think obviously you're a little pissed off. But yeah,
like, that's what needed to happen for LA to score.
Yep. And that's a good point.
Like, he was playing that well. Like, he just literally could not have to see the puck for it to go in. And that's what happened. So he's playing good.
Oh, man, it is crazy that the Oilers did not get a shot at even strength in that first period.
Oh, that was a weird first. That was a weird first. Easily could have fallen asleep, but I did not.
Good on you. The Oilers end up out shooting the Kings 25-17 at 5-on-5, and they walk away with a big victory. That was number 2 on my 3 big things for the game against the LA Kings last night. And number 3 is going to be the physical play for the Oilers. I'm not a guy who sits there and looks at the hit stat and goes, oh, that's impressive. Like, that gets me going. I just don't really read into it all too much. But the Oilers were
unless you bet on it.
Unless I bet on it. But the Oilers were determined last night to make an impact on that hockey game physically. There was a play it would have been the second period. Drew Doughty standing at the goal line, and I remember it like clear as day. Drew Doughty standing at the goal line, and he goes and makes a pass. And Draisaitl was coming in hard, and I was like, he's going to finish this check.
Yep.
And then you just got that feeling throughout the game. If the Oilers had a chance, whether it was McDavid, Draisaitl, Kane, or anyone lower in the lineup like a Klim Kostin, if they got a chance to get a clean shot at a Kings defenseman, they took it every single time. There were no flybys. There were no passengers in the physical game. I think that speaks to, one, the rivalry that's forming here. These two sides legitimately do not like each other, as you see here with Matt Roy just being a little whatever.
We had spicy Nuge last night.
We did.
Spicy Nugs.
Also, spicy Boosh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, spicy Boosh. I think deep down he wants to get into a fight.
Someone dropped the line. Evan Bouchard figured out last night that he's 6'3". Like he
yeah,
just
he does
learned
have
he's
that
6'3".
size, and he probably has strength, which is funny. But it goes back to Woodcrofts' comment, and I think that is a wall-worthy comment. Put it on the wall. Every hit is an investment, and they're making an investment for the playoff round that likely they're going to face against LA. They're doing their work now. And all that stuff takes a toll. They're playing the long game, and I absolutely loved it. If we would have won that game 1-0 with the way we played it, I would have loved it.
Yeah, it was still a pretty
it was entertaining,
low event but high entertainment.
High entertainment, because good scoring chance, big saves on both ends. A lot of creation, and spiciness.
I want this.
Pull
as
this
well.
one up. The biggest fake rat in the entire league, Alex Iafallo.
Oh yeah,
Falls.
God, I hate that guy.
Bukes, give him a little shove.
Oh yeah, you gotta react like that. But again, it wasn't Bukes. I didn't do anything cheap, and Iafallo went in the boards hard. I'd be pissed too. And so he decides to do something about it, and Bukes stood up for himself.
That penalty though that they called on Klim Kostin to start the second period.
And this was the next scrum.
There was the next scrum, and they don't take Iafallo as the only guy. It was just what the standard was. Over the place
that Klim one. Klim barely touched whoever it was he knocked down, Dursey or whatever it was.
If you're gonna give Kostin that penalty under the whatever, thinking of he extended the scrum, he was not quite an instigator, but he kept it going. Iafallo started that whole thing. It would have been just as easy to pick him out and go, you're sitting for 2. Yeah. It was a weird call on Klim Kostin, and I just think the standard was.
There's Vinny again, just being a mountain man holding 2 people at once.
Yeah. So there you go. Those are our 3 big things from last night's win, courtesy of our friends at Betway 19+. Please play responsibly. We'll have a little bit more on them coming up in just a bit. The out-of-town scoreboard didn't quite break the Oilers' way because, again, Vegas drug a game into overtime.
Nashville had one job. We were up 2-0.
And the night before,
Tyson Barrie,
35 seconds to go, and Vegas comes back there. Vegas has somehow milked 3 points in the last 2 nights.
I'm coming at peace with us not winning the Pacific, and that's okay.
But
okay.
Vegas, LA tomorrow, Edmonton, Anaheim tonight. It is still very possible. 100%. And the other thing that will always work in the Oilers' favor is they own the tiebreakers over all these teams.
And that they're also the Edmonton Oilers.
And they're the Edmonton Oilers. Since Jay Woodcroft took over last season, the Edmonton Oilers have the 3rd best points percentage in the NHL. So that's over a full calendar year now.
It's nice that we're clicking. We're just we're the team that we thought we were. We made some additions in areas that we needed help, but going back in December when we were not clicking like we are now, it's just the timing of everything is just wonderful. It's a very exciting. Spring is in the air. It's a very exciting time of year.
Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day. We're going to talk about the game tonight against the Ducks. We're going to get some questions in the chat, all that stuff. But it is a Wednesday, which means our pal Frank Seravalli is here for our friends at Star Mechanical, the #1 plumbing and heating company in Edmonton. You can give them a ring, 780-481-8873, or find them online at starmechanical.ca, Jay.
On the internet.
On the internet.
The World Wide Web.
Star Mechanical's there. They're on it. They are in the 21st century. Let's bring in Frank Seravalli to chat a little bit. Yeah, let's start with that game last night, Frank. Oilers Kings. That was a spicy one. But did the Oilers maybe I don't want to say establish themselves as a legit contender, but you heard us talking about how they are winning low event, low scoring hockey games, or they're grinding it out against the LA Kings. The Oilers are showing us something they haven't shown us all year.
And I think it's incredibly important when you consider that that's the team they're likely to face. I checked this morning. I thought it'd be higher than this, but it's 72% shot that the Oilers face the Kings in the first round. And when you demonstrate an ability to pick through the Kings the way the Oilers did last night, the way they did recently as well, you have to win. To win in the playoffs, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that's really what we saw from the Oilers on Tuesday night. Like, however the Kings want to play, you want to play run and gun. The Oilers have the best two players in the league and potentially a third 100-point scorer in Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. They're fine playing that way. But if you want to try and grind it out, and if you want to throw some Selke candidates in Philip Deneau and Anze Kopitar at you, well, that's okay too. And so that's, I think, a big mental hurdle that the Oilers needed to get over. And Tyler, you were standing right next to me when Connor McDavid said it at the All-Star weekend in Florida. Like, this team's turning point this season was a game against the Kings. He said there was something about it that clicked, that allowed this team to be better at even strength. And they figured something out in that game. I'd love to know the exact details of what that was. But if you were to go and pull their record from then until now, I believe they're the best team in the league in that stretch.
Yeah, they would be right up there. It's basically them and the Boston Bruins since the calendar flipped to 2023. And again, that's a slump built in there, which ended with that loss to the LA Kings. So yeah, they would be right up there. You mentioned Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's one away from 100 points. Stuart Skinner, as a rookie goalie, has been absolutely exceptional this season. Leon Draisaitl, second in scoring. You can go down the list of positive after positive and things that are breaking the Oilers' way. The other day, I used the term team of destiny, and a month ago, I would have sat here and outlined like 3 or 4 flaws with this team and been like, there are still some problems here. Right now, they're showing no flaws at all, Frank. If you had to pick apart this Oilers team and try to like give the reason they might get bounced in the playoffs, what would that reason be? What part of their game isn't at a high level?
Well, I think it's some of the things that have been talked about for not just this season, but maybe the last few. One of them is goaltending. Stuart Skinner's been excellent, and he is your game one starter. However, his numbers, as good as he's played and as much as he's helped this Oilers team be a playoff team, and I talked about this on Daily Faceoff Live earlier today, if I was voting today, which ballots come out on Monday, I'd have Skinner in the number 1 spot for the Calder ahead of Matty Beniers. And that's not a spicy take because, like I said, the Oilers, I don't think, make the playoffs without Skinner and the year that he's had. But his numbers are still, they're just a little bit above average. Like, he's not a series stealer. He's probably not a game stealer, I don't think. He's been exactly what the Oilers needed and nothing more. So goaltending would be one. And then I think the other thing is depth scoring. And that's, sort of been an issue for the Oilers in the past. It hasn't so much of late. But if you have, for whatever reason, and God forbid, if you're an Oiler fan, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl slowed down, if you have a power play that is not clicking on all cylinders in the playoffs, and that's a big reason why teams end up getting bounced, what can you rely on from your bottom 6 in order to get you over the hump in a game or two? That's a question that the Oilers still haven't answered, in my opinion. And so that's really where it leaves them at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good answer. You had Leon Draisaitl scored again on the power play last night. Big goal, puts the team back in front in that hockey game. You have a neat story up, or you've been following on Daily Faceoff about some connections between Draisaitl, that power play goal record in the NHL, and Tim Kerr, who has it.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving that a shout out because it's actually one of the favorite stories that I've written all year. Tim Kerr has kind of become this ghost, someone that's not really connected to the game of hockey anymore. He lives in my neck of the woods here in the Philly area. He's down at the Jersey Shore where I go in the summer. He's a really successful real estate agent. I tried to contact him multiple times to talk about the record, and he never responded to a text or a call or an email. And that's not really a shock to the teammates that have played with him, because he's sort of been off the radar, hasn't been active in alumni events or things like that for the Flyers. And his record is one that I thought would never even be challenged. You think of where NHL scoring has gone to in goals per game, relative basis. It's getting closer to the level of the 80s, and that's when this record was set in 1986. 34 power play goals in 1 year. Like a couple years ago, 34 goals of any kind in 1 year was an incredible accomplishment. Leon Draisaitl is right there at 31 now, 3 away from tying, 4 away from breaking the record. It feels like there's been a little bit more of an emphasis, like his teammates know that that's in play. And there's a neat little tie that exists between this record and the ones that Draisaitl is chasing, in that the guy that assisted on more than half of those goals that were the record setter, Pelle Eklund, was an Oilers scout for 10 years that actually helped draft Draisaitl, a European-based amateur scout that went to go watch Draisaitl play games in Germany, went to go watch him in world tournaments, and certainly helped put him on the radar. You wouldn't take credit for it, but Pelle Eklund, a big part of Leon Draisaitl ending up in Edmonton. He assisted on half the goals, and then obviously now assisted the Oilers in the chase of that record.
The most important assist of his life, in my opinion.
In your opinion, yes. You mentioned like the 35 goalish mark there, right? 9 years ago, 2013-14, there were 8 players who hit the 35 goal mark in the NHL. This year, we are already at 31. Is this a blip, Frank, or is this really the way the sport's going, this trend towards high-end, high-octane offensive play?
Well, it seems like it's continuing to trend up. My guess is that we actually talked about this on the DFO rundown with Jason Gregor on Monday. My guess is that it remains relatively flat. And the reason I say that is I don't foresee it going in the other direction anytime soon, but coaches are going to coach defense better and how to defend better. And 2, there's a significant advantage between shooters and goaltenders right now, that shooters have the clear edge. For the longest time, goalies with their equipment, the size they took up in the net was a huge advantage. And players and teams through analytics have figured out that the best way to score is to get goalies moving laterally. So the number of goals that you're seeing go in, bang, bang, cross ice plays east to west has really changed in a drastic way. And so until there's some sort of, revert back to or swing backward toward goaltenders, which, whoever comes up with that is going to be a pretty wealthy person to really change the paradigm that exists right now. But eventually we'll see a shift, because everything is sort of cyclical. You'll see, look at it on a chart or graph, you'll see the roller coaster that takes place. And so, but for right now, I think everyone's enjoying it. I mean, look at this, almost 3.2 goals per game per team. So 6.4 per game. You mentioned the 35, I think you said, players right now that have scored 30 or more, like
31, 35 goal scores already.
It's crazy. That's a crazy, crazy number from where we were at 10 years ago, when Jamie Benn, less than 10 years ago, was leading the league with 87 points in a season. I wasn't sure that we'd ever see 100-point scorers again. And now here we are, Connor McDavid chasing down 150, Draisaitl 50 plus, 70 plus. He's on track north of 125. It's still that one singular part of Draisaitl's year, the power play goals. I'm laughing at all the clowns on social media that continue to say, oh, it's on the power play, it doesn't matter. First off, there's a direct correlation between Stanley Cups and power play success in the playoffs. And 2, all of the goals count the same, whether it's power play, empty net, shorthanded, however you score it, you still need it. And I don't know why that's become sort of this knock against the Oilers, that because they score a lot on the power play, that suddenly they're less than anything else.
I always got a chuckle, and I made this point, I think almost a month ago now, but like Leon Draisaitl has his spot, right? He's down there by the goal line. Sometimes he creeps closer. Sometimes it's the one-timer from a little further away. And no one talks about that spot being his that much. And people would be like, oh, power play merchant, like can't score 5-on-5. Yet they idolize Ovi for doing the same thing on the other side of the ice, for having a spot and firing pucks from there. And it's just kind of funny how for Ovi, it was like best in the game at it, best goal scorer, all this. No one scored more than Leon Draisaitl in the NHL over the past 3 seasons. That's a fact. He does it all, or he does a chunk of it on the power play. Who cares? If it was that easy, every superstar would score a lot of goals on the power play, you know?
Yeah, and I would say, too, one of the things that makes this... Yeah, thanks, Liam. One of the things that makes...
Tyler looked at me when he asked the question and said, so I figured I had to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, always appreciate your contribution. And you know what did Alex Iafallo do to you, by the way?
Oh, he just drives me nuts. Like, this guy runs around poking goalies, all this stuff, and then he has 20 penalty minutes all season. Like, does he just do this against the Oilers? It just irritates me.
The chat called him Cry-a-Follow.
Yeah, I don't know. He just feels so irrelevant, but he just lives in my head.
Nickname.
It is.
So
Jay,
just to put a bow on the power play conversation, one of the things really taking a look at the Oilers power play, as I wrote the story about Tim Kerr last week and Draisaitl, was part of what makes, and Jason Gregor actually had a great story about this with some detail as well on ON, about part of what makes the Oilers power play so successful and so difficult to defend against is they're in a spot where there's constant motion. Like, yeah, everyone has their sort of favored location, and Draisaitl has his, and McDavid has his, and et cetera, et cetera. But there's this sort of tornado of activity that exists around the play where it makes it so hard to defend because they're not stationary. They're not static. They're not in one spot, and they eventually get there. But defending it until they get there is what makes it so hard, and the confusion that exists. And that's part of what makes, I'd say, almost impossible to defend against. And to put a further exclamation point on it, this is the best power play in NHL history, bar none. And what Draisaitl has done already is more significant than what Tim Kerr accomplished with the Flyers in 85-86 when he set the record, because the Oilers will end up with about 80 fewer power play opportunities over the course of the season than the year that the Flyers, Tim Kerr, set that record in 86. So just something to keep an eye on. Like, what we're witnessing right now, it's not just greatness with McDavid and Draisaitl, but also with the influx of talent on that power play and what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins does on that power play. It's a really, really special unit. So cherish it.
Yeah, I'm just going back through. I went all the way back to 1970. The Oilers at 32.7% this year is 0.8% above the 77-78 Canadians for best single season power play percentage. It's crazy.
And that Canadians team is, I think, one of the best teams of all time. Didn't they have 10 losses the entire season? Am I thinking of the right year?
Yeah, they went 59, 10, and 11 with 11 ties.
Pretty good.
Legit ties.
Yeah, straight up ties.
Not OT losses.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I almost feel like we as a fan base haven't talked about the fact that their power play percentage is one of the best, or is like the best in the last 50 some years, half a century. No power play has been this efficient. That's insane.
And
bananas.
Yeah, not just the efficiency, it's also the relative lack of chances compared to those teams. When they get the opportunity, they're hammering it.
Yeah.
And it's been better since Bouchard has been on that power play, which here's my fresh plate of crow to eat. It's gotten better without Tyson Barrie.
At least you didn't say fresh plate of cat food.
Well, Frank is smarter than that. Yeah, Frank is smarter than to not wager cat food. Tyler's trying to nag on just saying he has to have a bite of cat food.
No, I think you said you will eat a tin of cat food. Is that
no, I didn't.
Yeah, I think it needs to be a portion of cat food.
You guys are hopping in on this, bandwagoning it at the end, and then making up your own rules.
Bandwagoning. Frank has been on this the second he heard about it in October.
Because no one pressured you to do this, and you literally stepped out onto a ledge by yourself. Volunteered yourself. Now you will pay the price for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frank. So
Okay, but
it's not just me.
well, you're spearheading it.
Well, did I? I just asked the question.
We'll see.
Frank is one to assemble facts.
He is a journalist.
So the fact that he said that just really corroborates my statement, my angle here.
So since it feels like the first round is opening in LA against the Kings, can we all like convene at LA Live and have Tyler eat cat food on Twitter?
Yeah, we
like, live.
Well, Frank, we learned the hard way that they won't let us film at LA Live.
No.
So just off where that 1 inch is in the corner, we will do it there. Yes.
I'll bring one of those airplane vomit bags for you, Tyler, and we'll do it.
I'll bring some hot sauce or whatever condiment of your choice. We'll season it up.
You know, it's funny you said that.
Wants to make like canapes and put it on like crackers.
Yeah, he wants to do a flight.
That is foul on so many levels. But here's the thing. So you'll laugh as I've been detailing on the rundown. I'm on the quest to 200 pounds, and I'm dieting properly every day. For lunch, I eat ground turkey with some carrots, and as I used to do this, Darren Dreger, he would call this my cat food because the ground turkey actually looks like cat food. And I literally cover it with like a pound of hot sauce because that's the only way to eat it.
Great masking agent.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, Frank, are you a Frank's Red Hot Sauce guy? I know it'd be your brand too, but
that's what I cover it in. Frank's Red Hot Sauce. It's like we're talking like a couple calories and little salt, little pepper. But other than that, I was making it the other day. Megan was like, "Why are you not using like olive oil or something else to cook this in?" I'm like, "No, you're defeating the purpose. It needs to be just straight up ground turkey."
That's fair.
And actually, Frank, just so you know, hot sauce speeds up the metabolism. So the processing of what you just ate gets processed a lot faster. So
yeah, I know. I just ate it. This is my cue to leave to actually,
go get it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I guess we'll cut this conversation off, Frank. Thanks for hopping in today.
Tyler, I cannot, seriously, I'm looking forward to the chaos of the playoffs and you vomiting live.
Aaron, you can pull him off now. You just yank him right from the show. Thanks, Frank. Talk to you next week.
See you guys.
There you go. Frank Seravalli, Daily Faceoff insider.
I wonder if Frank just calls it hot sauce.
And not
or
Frank's,
red hot sauce.
Not Frank's red hot sauce?
Yeah.
What do you say? Where's Frank's red hot sauce?
Oh, like
it's
where is Frank's? Yeah.
And that's a lot of Franks.
Yeah, quite frankly, it is.
Can't tell.
And what if Frank uses Frank's red hot sauce on a Frankfurter? Frank's using Frank's on a Frank.
There's got to be some kind of
there's a lot of
Photoshop
Franks
we could do here, right?
Oh yeah,
spiced oil. Someone, you got to get on this for us. I can't tell. Oh, he is still lingering in the chat. I can never tell if we're just on the Frank pause screen or if he's listening into whatever we're talking about. But anyways, it's a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. Shout out to Sherwood Ford and their 51 service bays. They also have the latest in Ford diagnostic
Shout out
tools.
Frank for agreeing it should be a tin of cat food.
He's gone now. He's gone now.
Shout him out.
We can never be too sure.
You can have some of his red hot sauce.
I'm not a big hot sauce guy, which is the least surprising thing I'm sure I've ever said. But yeah, I mean, everyone saw that coming.
What is your
I'm trying to think.
favorite?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, no. Let's try to think of what Tyler's favorite condiment would be. I'm trying to think. No. Come on, Liam. Let's think. What is the tap water of condiments?
Barbecue sauce.
Like
No,
mayonnaise.
I was kind of thinking mayonnaise.
No, mayonnaise is elite.
Mayonnaise is great.
Exactly. Yeah, you would love mayonnaise.
People on that side, a lot of mayonnaise.
Yeah, I'm a big mayo guy.
Oh, mayo and fries.
I put on my burgers sometimes too.
Well,
not when I'm
it's
at the
exclusively.
Mustard?
No, but mustard's got punch.
Yeah, not a big mustard guy.
I'm
trying to think of condiments.
I'm like, what's what's a flavorless paste you could dip something
just
into?
Butter.
Butter
is delicious.
Yeah,
and Irish butter is even more delicious.
Can you just tell us? I don't know what it would be.
I'm a big barbecue sauce guy.
That is fair.
Oh, of
that
course.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Barbecue sauce is gross.
Yeah, I don't like barbecue sauce.
Really?
Unless it's like acidic.
When
Like,
you're having
like it's got some tart acidity to it.
making like a sandwich with some leftover meats, got some leftover chicken, making a chicken sandwich, throw some barbecue sauce in there.
No,
Never.
What do you mean no? That's like a totally not even that's like a good thing to do. That's like a
I'm just gonna make a sandwich and put barbecue sauce on it.
why
Just put
not?
Butter.
Just
Maybe-
butter.
Just
so
butter
now-
is fine.
Whatever.
But what about some mayo and some mustard on a chicken sandwich?
Twisted says Vegemite.
No, but have you tried Vegemite though? It's very
Okay,
like
so-
salty and punchy. Like I'm thinking like bland, like pablum or
But
something.
we keep rattling off like bland things, and you're like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's really good too. Oh, no, that's good.
Yeah, I
So
like
the-
it because I like flavor.
I do too. No one ever said I didn't.
You say you didn't.
Vince says he's with me on barbecue sauce. There you go.
That's Charlie. You're allowed
Tyson says ketchup on everything is the only way. I'm not a big ketchup on everything guy.
Ketchup's good.
My dad is a big ketchup on everything guy. Like there's people ketchup on a steak. No way.
No,
Oh,
you can't
no
bruise a steak.
chance.
And I'm a big HP guy, but I will not put HP on a steak either.
But
Steak is either good on its own, maybe a little bit of butter, or a very good sesame steak sauce.
or a nice barbecue sauce.
Don't even fucking think about bruising that steak with barbecue sauce. Barbecuing chicken breast with barbecue sauce? Yes.
Chris Butty with barbecue sauce.
No. Why would you just have barbecue chips?
Barbecue butty? BBQ sauce butty?
If you want, no limit.
A sauce sandwich? That's very Tyler. Actually, yes.
No, that's gross.
A
That
sauce
sounds
sandwich?
terrible.
Well, essentially, that's a peanut butter sandwich.
That is good actually.
Yeah. So, like, you know what's great is melting peanut butter, infusing it with some sriracha, and then like you dipping it as like a saute sauce.
No. Nope.
Do you like saute sauce? I bet you 90% of the saute sauce you have is melted peanut butter. That's a little tidbit of information for you. Yep.
Tyson says a good steak needs no condiment whatsoever. We all
Salt
agree
and
on
pepper.
that. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Salt and
and
pepper. That's it.
Maybe throw a little garlic powder on there. Just a hair.
I will.
Just
I will
give it a
support
little-
that. I will support that.
I go garlic butter if I'm going to put anything on a steak.
My local meat shop. What do you call them? Butchers.
Yep, I
What-
believe that's the name.
They got a great, like, they built their own proprietary, if you will, like steak spice. Oh, put on fries, but put on steaks nice. A little bit.
Twisted asks if I'm a plain wings guy. No.
Yeah, what is your
He's
wing
actually a
flavor?
raw wings guy.
Well, it depends on what the place is offering up. Honey garlic's just an easy one, sweet, good.
simple.
But
You
give me
love
like
sticky fingers.
sweet chili, Thai chili, something in that range. That's very good.
I
That's my
like
go-to.
hotiyaki sometimes but for me it's hot wings or salt and pepper wings dipped in hot sauce.
If I'm having salt and pepper wings, I'm rolling those things around in ranch before I put them in my mouth.
Well, every
No,
wing
but-
should be dipped in ranch.
Yeah.
That is fair. Maybe not.
Do you dip them in barbecue sauce?
Well, no, because they're already covered in the sauce.
But none of the wings you just said you ate are barbecue.
Yeah, but they're saucy. Barbecue wings are good too, though.
So you don't dip in ranch?
I do. 100%.
Well, that's just what? Like, come on,
I don't
dude.
know what you're coming at me about.
You just said you will not dip the wings in sauce, and then I asked if you dip them in ranch, which
Well,
is
yeah,
a sauce. You
and
said,
I
"Oh
won't
yeah, of
dip
course
them
I
in
do."
barbecue sauce. If I'm having honey
But-
garlic wings, I'm not going to be like, a side of barbecue sauce as well. That's insane. Should we get into the hockey talk?
Do we have anything
The
left?
chat's buzzing. Everyone's just talking about sauces now.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's a saucy night because tonight Nuge gets 100 points.
He is at 99 right now, and even though every time he speaks to the media, he goes, "I'm not worried about that. I'm about
Well, of
team
course he
wins."
doesn't, but
Ah.
his teammates do, and deep down he does.
Yeah, he deep down, Nuge wants that 100 point. Does he get it on a goal or an assist, boys?
You know what? I don't care. I thought he was going to get on the empty netter last night. That's kind of like, oh man, that's kind of bittersweet. But I was still going to roll with it. But goal or assist, you know, if it could be on a, I don't care what it is, but if it's off a Nuge low blocker goal, that would just be like,
Yeah.
poetic.
That would be something. The Oilers taking.
Gordie hat trick. How about for the 101 points
That
tonight
would
for
also
Nuge?
be- that'd be
Actually, he's
nice.
going to save his spiciness for the Kings.
Oilers Ducks tonight. The Ducks have lost 8 consecutive hockey games. They're terrible.
Yep.
1-9 in their last 10. Oilers beat them 6-0 over the weekend. No reason to think the Oilers can't roll them again tonight. zero reason to think that this will not be another solid Oilers victory. This Ducks team has mailed it in. They've let Dallas Aikens coach this thing through, even though the team's floundering. They don't care.
Yeah, they are
No
at
one cares.
Sharkies at Newport every night for the last 2 weeks and for the next 2 weeks.
Nikita Nestorenko was on that board there because he was tied for the team high with 3 shots on goal last game. Tyler Mulick likes to call him the EA Sports generated player. Like, that's just a name they came up with. We can go through the Ducks lineup here. It's again, we did this whole song and dance on Saturday, so people are probably just going to like roll their eyes, but like, this is not an NHL caliber roster. They have gotten some bodies back. They got Zegras, Vetrano, and Strome on the top line. They may have Troy Terry and Adam Henrique back. Maybe.
I wonder if Ekholm's going to do something to Zegras.
Why?
Well, there's a little bad blood from last game.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about that? I was just, like, the fact that Zegras kind of went after him a little bit.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind it, but I just like, it was so like out of the play that he did it.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh god, you're such a rat. So like, you know, if the Viking man chooses to exact his revenge, and I don't care if he does or does not, Zegras will feel it.
I got a feeling if Zegras is coming down the board tonight, Ekholm isn't going to let off.
Oh, it's Cronwall.
He's going to
Cronwall City.
But I kind of like that Zegras went and did something about it.
Yeah, but like,
it was a weird spot to do it.
He's this like skilled guy who thinks he likes to act tough, who's not tough.
Yeah.
And like those players are annoying.
Because there was all that stuff.
I respect that he stood up for himself, but like, if it got real, he is skating away.
There was a Troy Stetcher stuff too earlier in the season when he was yelling at him, and there was like 3 refs in the way of them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, that's who you are.
Spot picker.
Yeah, totally. The bottom 6 for the Ducks: Derek Grant with Jacob Silverberg, Jason Megna, Isaac Lundestrom with Brock McGinn, and Max Jones. So they are getting a little bit healthier up front. On the blue line, Cam Fowler with Scott Harrington, Simone Benoit with Kevin Shattenkirk, Nathan Beaulieu with Colton White. And between the pipes tonight for the Anaheim Ducks, unconfirmed right now.
Poor Gibson. That guy's probably just having
when he got banged up,
a real good time.
He left that last game early between the Oilers and the Ducks after allowing 5 goals on 36 shots.
Hurt himself. He's just like, I'm out.
He's like, fuck. Honestly,
I'm done.
Trade
me.
Knowing what we kind of know about John Gibson, it would not surprise me in the least if he was just like, fuck this. I'm done. I'm sitting. I'll go sit in the room.
Someone needs to save John Gibson and liberate him.
Lucas Dostal, if he gets the start, he allowed 1 goal on 9 shots in 13 minutes against the Oilers. His last start, though, came against the Flames 3 nights ago when he allowed 5 goals on 41 shots. This Ducks team is just an absolute lock, it feels like, to give up 40-plus shots in a given hockey game. So maybe that's an interesting little tie-in to our friends at Betway and our bets for this evening. Aaron?
Ooh, the Oilers win. If you look at that schedule, tonight is a green light. That's nice.
The Anaheim Ducks have given up 41 shots, 45 shots, 39, 44, and then 36 before that. So 40-plus shots against in 3 of their last 5. I know Betway has the line set at 39.5 for the Oilers team shots, paying about minus 105, I believe. You'd have to double-check that, though. Let's dig into things, though. Our game day big bets brought to you by Betway. We had Sean Bell's face on this graphic yesterday.
Yeah, how was Bellsy?
He was awesome.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Oh, you what? I wasn't part of the Betway bets yesterday?
No, you were. We just put Sean's face on the graphic.
Oh, that's cool. He was good?
He was great. He's a great guy. He says he sees you every Monday at Argyle.
Fridays.
Every Friday, sorry.
Yeah, Friday morning. Yeah. He coaches an academy or something.
So it's great. We made fun of you a bunch on the show, and he gave us some great analysis about like where the Oilers forechecker should go and how that affects their defensive play. It was really, really insightful stuff. Yesterday on our bet, did anyone get it right?
I did.
I should have known. I should have picked the under.
I was so close to going to the under, but I was like, no, I'll take a couple shot props.
I had a Draisaitl goal.
Attaboy.
At plus 105.
So you give up a big fist pump at the end. Yep. I'm going with Oilers money line over 6.5. Draisaitl 2+ points. Jack Campbell coming off a shutout, so maybe I'm a little bit more nervous than I thought I'd be about the over/under in this game. But I think the Oilers will pop home at least 5. I think the Ducks are probably good for 1 or 2 as well. With that forward group getting healthier, Draisaitl grabbed 2 points feels like a lot. He has 16 assists in his last 10 games. Like, it's crazy.
Seems good.
So, to get this at plus 175 feels like a good spot. Jay, what do you like?
Well, I don't know why we're not all just focusing on the Nuge. It's all about the Nuge right now.
Fair.
That is all that matters. Nuge and Connor getting 150 points. So yeah, for me, I went because obviously betting on one Nuge point is not juicy enough.
He's a 100-point player. You don't get value for that.
Well, exactly. And we're playing the Ducks. So
Mhm.
I'm betting on Nuge to get 2 points to finish tonight at 101 points. And excited to see if there's a shirt that drops. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. You never know. You never know what we could be cooking up over at Nation Gear. Liam, what do you like tonight?
Same as you. Plus 170. Oilers win over Dry 2 points. I did have Dry 2 goals, which was plus 550. And I went a little conservative.
On Betway, you can't even get Connor over 3 points tonight.
Yeah,
they've just taken it down. So like we have to charge so low for this that it's not even worth anyone's time.
I went to go look, and yeah, there's no Connor McDavid up on Betway to go over 2.5 points. It's absolutely crazy. You can get McDavid 2+ assists at plus 105, or you can get McDavid to score 2 or more goals at plus 350. I do kind of like him to find the back of the net. Goals in 2 of his last 3, but didn't get one last night. Scored 1 against the Ducks. I kind of like
think
Connor
he wants to get
score.
66. You kind of think he wants to get that, right?
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, 4 games to go. Kind of running out of time at 62 right now.
Well,
I could
4
see
games, 4 goals. You could have 3 tonight.
I did.
Like tonight's a hat trick night. Like tonight could be the Kane hat trick night that we've been talking about for 8 games. I know. Yeah. That or against Seattle. Or San Jose. Actually, he hasn't had a proper revenge game. He hasn't been good against San Jose yet.
No, he hasn't.
So that's maybe coming. Maybe in San Jose, that's what wakes him up.
So Evander Kane averages a hat trick roughly every 8.5 hockey games. When you look at his game logs as of late, it has now been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games since his last hat trick. So Evander Kane may be due for a little hattie.
It's just math, folks. It's just math.
Kane to score a hat trick tonight, 28-1 on Betway.
What's $5 on that?
Yeah, what's $5? Come on. Alex says, show us the playoff hype video on the stream. I think before game 1 of the playoffs, we could probably arrange that. Sergeant Battle just said, let's go. I like that as well. A lot of people saying join the Discord. I'm not sure how to do that. I don't understand technology, so I'll pass on that.
I'm sure it gets real interesting in the Discord.
I've heard it does get pretty interesting in the Discord.
It's very positive vibes in the Discord. We're loved in there.
It's optimistic.
And they're always in here. They have notifications when the show goes live.
How many people are in the Discord?
I think it's about 100 and something.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of people in there. And it is
like Discord's interesting, but but the conversations can be interesting.
Yeah, it's good. I think you go to QF Pro's Twitter to get the link.
All right. Sherwood Ford Giant keys to victory. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant. Man, I'm having a hard time coming up with a key to victory just because it's like, I don't know, just play well and you'll win easily.
Just don't suck.
Even if you don't play your best, you're going to win by a lot of goals. Like, just don't be bad and you're fine.
Yeah, just be good enough tonight.
Yeah, just be good enough. Get the 2 points.
I know they're probably, I'm sure last night was exhausting. So, just.
Not really any travel though, right? You're still in bed. You're still getting a good sleep in.
Yeah, but still, that playing that type of hockey is exhausting.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, they're going to be tired tonight. And so that's why I think betting the over is probably a safe play because we're probably going to have some gaffes. We're probably going to be prepared. We might have 4 goals scored against us. So get ready for a 6-4 game. So I might actually sprinkle in the over 8.5 actually now that I talked this out.
Last time the Oilers played back-to-backs, they beat Arizona, then beat Vegas the following night. They have actually been a decent back-to-back team so far this season as well. So, back-to-backs don't really scare me that much. Liam, do you have a key to victory? Anything that pops into your mind?
The only thing I would say is just don't let the game kind of get close. I guess is a good way to do it. Just don't waste your energy on this game. You don't want to underestimate them, but just play the Edmonton Oilers way. You just took the LA Kings in their own style twice and beat them. So just go out there and just beat the Edmonton Oilers and beat the wheels off the Anaheim Ducks.
When the Anaheim Ducks trail after the first period, they are 4-31-3.
I have a stat.
Sure.
I was asked this the other day, so I went through and I counted. When the Oilers outshoot their opponents in 2023, they have lost 1 game. I think the record is now 20-1 after last night. and it was the Columbus Blue Jackets game was the only one they've lost when they've outshot their opponents.
That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah. There you go.
I bet you a good bet tonight is Anaheim Ducks to score first.
Didn't hit last time they played, though, because I thought about it. I'm sorry, I mentioned the Ducks when they trail after the first. When the Oilers lead after the first, 24-4-3.
They mentioned a stat yesterday, too, that when the Oilers leave after 2, I think they've lost once this season.
Once in regulation, they're 31-1-5.
I wonder who the one was against.
It was...
I can't remember when
the
they've
Kraken or the Canucks. They had those 2 games where they blew.
It was the Canucks.
It was the Canucks, yeah, and they lost in reg.
I think the Kraken was they lost after leading after 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's right.
Because it was also, I believe, a 2-0 hockey game.
Yeah.
Anyways, there you go. Big game, 8 o'clock, not 8:30 tonight. Connor Halley and the boys will be live with Oilers Nation After Dark immediately following tonight's hockey game as well. We are heading right down to the wire here in the regular season. If the Oilers win tonight, they will move within 1 point of the Vegas Golden Knights. They will be 3 clear of LA, with LA and Vegas going head-to-head tomorrow. So a win tonight goes a long way in securing home ice advantage for the Edmonton Oilers, and it also keeps that little window of grabbing the top spot in the division alive. So giddy up. It's a big one for the Oilers. Can't afford to take this Ducks team lightly because this is an important 2 points. Elsewhere tonight, Calgary is in Winnipeg. Calgary is trying.
Calgary.
I mean, they're dead, right? They're dead. You can't lose to Chicago.
There's a glimmer there, but you had to win that, because if you won that game, then you had a chance to jump or be tied with.
If they would have won last night, it would have been 89 points Winnipeg, 89 points Calgary, with 1 game in hand for Winnipeg.
Oh God, how do you lose? How do you lose that game?
Did you watch the end of it during the first intermission?
I watched the end of the game.
Yeah, the end of the Flames game was like right after the first period of the Oilers game. So I flipped over and like they were all over them too. They had so many looks. There was one play where like the puck just like lobbed over the goalie, but just went over the net. Oh, it was a tight
They
finish.
decided to turn it on in the last 2 minutes. Like
So what do they got there? 87 points. Winnipeg has 89.
Like it's doable. Like Winnipeg really needs to slide. Like Calgary can't lose a game now.
It's so interesting because that would have been 5 in a row if Calgary had won.
Yeah.
So you would have think all the momentum was with them, and now it just seems completely dead. But tonight's everything. If they lose tonight, then they're done.
Yeah, definitely final nail. But like,
yeah, if they're 4 points back with only 3 games left, yeah, they'll be toast. So there you go. Winnipeg also holds the tiebreaker as well.
Yeah, they have no, like they can't, they don't have any tiebreakers over anyone.
Good night of hockey tonight. Calgary, Winnipeg, 5:30. That rolls right into Edmonton, Anaheim at 8 o'clock.
Oh, thank God.
We'll be back tomorrow at noon Mountain Time to break everything down. Thanks for tuning in to another Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show, live from the Sports Closet studio. We had Frank Seravalli for our friends at Star Mechanical. A breakdown for last night's game brought to you by Betway, and a look at the out-of-town scoreboard for AMA Travel. We checked a lot of boxes on today's show. Almost went a full hour.
Did we?
Yeah.
Wow, that went
It's
by
54
fast.
It went really fast. All right. Thanks for commenting
Sure
as well.
so
Hit the like and subscribe button before you dip
I'm gonna have
out.
a barbecue sauce sandwich.
Why not? Treat yourself tonight, everybody. We'll chat again tomorrow.